RuPaul's a great player. Let's take a look at some Vega. So Brig, it's the same thing with tempo. When Winston has jump, you need to be ready for that. When Winston has primal, you need to be ready for that. When we're talking about who you're armor packing, you need at least one armor pack for your Ana when there is a threat of a Winston jump, maybe more if there's the threat of a nano jump, and maybe even more if there's threat of a nano jump and a primal. So we might see situations here where Vega doesn't just one pack, but Vega might two pack or Vega might three pack. Now remember that stacking packs does not increase your healing per second on the target. It just increases the duration of the heal. So if the Winston is because of nano or because of primal or tracer or whatever is on your backline for 65 trillion years, then you're going to need to stack some packs. So one pack, then another pack, and another pack. Brigitte also have to worry about having a pack for the tracer or echo. There's two DPS here that really need that that range support. And then in addition to that, Brig also has to utilize bash to keep herself alive. Not just to bash in, because you don't have the stun anymore. The damage is not that good, but to create distance when needed, to avoid getting landed on. Obviously, beyond all that, that's pretty much all there is to it. Packs are affected by Ana nates, so if Ana nates herself, those packs each per second is increased. And then rally can be used defensively, can be used offensively. Generally, with the amount of space between you and the enemy backline, it's generally used more defensively to punish the enemy Winston. And then obviously you can also use your shield to block the enemy on nates. Okay, would you time packs to get the initial burst? Depends on the situation. Generally, the more important priority is hitting the whip shot on that Winston jump. Brig is one of the most underrated roles in dive. Maybe not at the higher level, but by maybe like the average casual player. Because the higher level Brigitte is... I mean, the gap between like a top tier Brig and like a good Brig, like even with all due respect to Vega, somebody that's like a Chio level, right? Or there is like, it is impossible to jump sometimes. It is like, it just impossible jumps. And like, you can already see it here. Vega gets a little distracted by Tracer, goes back, doesn't have whip, can't stop this engage. Really important that you anticipate the tempo of the jump. It's okay to use your whip shot to proc inspire or just to disrupt damage, whatever, as long as there's not a threat of a Winston jump in the next 4 seconds. So he has to bash out there. And because of that, actually that's how Sugar Free died, was because the Winston follow-up and the anti-nade. So Vega, it's Vega's fault. Again, proc. I think Vega could be a little bit more cautious with his bash. I think he can hold the space a little bit longer, even if the reward for it is not very high. Just because you could just have more of a presence and still block with shield and nade. But yeah. The tough thing is that, like, it's tough to block nade with shield and then also be able to bash out immediately afterwards without staying too long. How does Inspire work? Inspire works by you do any sort of damage, whether it's a shield bash, swinging your flail, or hitting your whip shot. And there's this big AoE burst, like, really, it's very similar to Sound Barrier or Lucio Beat, where there's anybody around you gets a buff that heals them. And so even if they leave your presence or go behind a room or go behind a coat, they still have that buff for 4 seconds. So yeah, Brig has played a lot in this because he's really good at helping her dive DPS and denying the enemy Winston and or the enemy dive DPS. Plus her ultimate's really good. So the Brig is playing up a little bit because he has better LOS to pack. He can still whip shot the Winston when he jumps. Look at that. Look at that balance. He's constantly... Yeah, Brig is really, truly an ultimate game sense here. Look at that. By the way, not smashing packs on his Winston there. Why? Because he knows he needs to save at least one pack for his Ana. There's Nano and Primal coming up. You remember the site? You guys remember this? How many of you guys would use your whip shot in the Winston here? Raise your hand. I know I would. It's just too tempting, right? You knock the guy back. You proc your Inspire. You know... I mean, I know I would, right? But you can't do this. You cannot do it. Yeah, not versus a dive tank who still has bubble, right? Still has bubble. Not only does this guy have bubble, but there's primal and nano. You cannot whip him. If you whip him, they get a free engage and you die. Look at that. Look at that. He's staring him down. He's waiting for it. He's waiting for it. He's waiting for it. Look at that. Look at that. Constantly there. Look at that. Bam! Bam! That's so hard to do. Especially while you're like you're min-maxing. Now, you might ask yourself, why does he bash back? You guys tell me, why does he bash back? Why does he bash back? Nano? Well, it doesn't matter. He could just whip him again, right? It's not Nano, actually. It's Primal. Primal's coming. He needs to be there to whip it again. He needs there to be re-give his Ana Inspire and maybe even be there for a rally. The engagement has not ended. That's the key thing. In fact, he even uses his whip shot there. Oh! Just to keep the Inspire rolling. Because he knows that, okay, even if the Winston gets a jump, I have rally here. And check it out. Check it out, guys. So uses that one there. Peels the Tracer. Blocks the Pulse Bomb. Let's just appreciate that. Packs his Echo. Almost gets the pack in time. Whips again. Bam! Bubbles for Primal's forced because this Winston, and you can't stop this, but forcing the Primal to just make the jump is great. Bashes in to get close to Ana, rallies to keep himself alive. Ana nades herself. One pack. Inspire. Again. You guys see that? Huge. It's so unsexy. Okay, maybe it is a little sexy, but it's so important. Like, it's so important. This is fight-winning play here. And really just from Vega. Really just from Vega. I don't know what's happening elsewhere, but Vega is, like, carrying this right now. Again, right there. Proc the Inspire. And you might think, oh, I didn't get him off the high ground. Yeah, and that's, by the way, that's going to definitely be the case with the tank changes, man. You're not going to be consistent at booping the Winstons off of high ground. But what you do is you mean that Winston can no longer zap your Ana for 1 second. Just see RuPaul's HP? Just a little bit higher. Bash out to safety. Procs the Inspire there, because he doesn't think he needs it. And gets a little bit too close here. He gets a little greedy here. He gets a little greedy here. He's feeling himself here just a little bit. Is Whip Shot going to be used for proccing Inspire more than engagement denial after tank updates? No, because Whip Shot still kills momentum. Still kills momentum. It may not knock them back as far, but it still kills momentum. So it's really important still. He's going to walk forward here. Can they get a trade? Can they get a trade? I don't think they even see him here. I think he's just dead. I think he's dead. I think he's dead. I think he's dead. Oh, maybe not. Huge whip there. Proc Inspire. Build the rally. Got to watch for nade. Packs. Look at how much he's packing his DPS. When the on is safe, he looks to enable his DPS. Should you pre-pack your Winston on engage that will go out of your LOS? It can be useful, but remember that pack isn't a lot of healing, and so in the bigger the health pool, the healing matters less. Still worried. There's another whip. Man, that is so hard for Winston, man. Like, you versus a good Brig, it can be very oppressive to play. I want you guys to notice this adjustment from Infected. This is something that a lot of high-level Winstons will do. If you jump your angle here, Whip Shot drops it, and you drop to the floor. But if you get underneath and you jump up, Whip Shot will just send you higher into the air, but you could still land on high ground. Did you guys notice that? So watch this. What Infected does is, because they messed up their cooldowns. Remember this fight that RuPaul messed up his cooldowns? He actually hits the whip here. But Infected is above the Brig, so he still lands on the Brig. So the adjustment that Vega needed to make, honestly, was probably take a deeper angle towards Ana and look for the whip this way. But honestly, it's just a good adjustment by Infected. So there's both cooldowns there, and now they've lost all the space. And now Infected still has the high ground. You see that? I'm surprised they didn't retake high ground here, frankly. I think they should have retaken high ground. Actually, I'm just noticing that. Nano whip, bash out. Pack, missed sleep dart, pack again. Inspire, naded Inspire plus armor pack is a lot of healing per second. If you guys ever watch like those broken healing clips that they post on Twitter, I saw another one today. Another support is definitely balanced. It's always with naded Inspire armor pack. It's quite strong, and that's not even including if you stack the armor packs, right? It's usually on a Brig clip. Sometimes you'll have Kiriko moments in there as well with Nade or Suzu as well. But I mean that when you throw Nade, armor packs, and Inspire, and then you combine that with Rally, which also is overhealth generation, it is almost impossible to kill these two. But the problem, as you guys have already seen, and what's always failed to, it's not pointed out in those clips, is that forcing Nade, all the armor packs, Brig attention, Ana attention, whatever, is everything these guys have. You will lose fights, but if you're blowing your Nade and armor packs defensively over and over and over again, it's everything that they have. And how many fights have we seen here where somebody, RuPaul or Vega, screws up their cooldowns, and then they have to focus exclusively on keeping each other alive, and then the enemy backline just gets, or the enemy frontline just get, or their frontline rather, just gets toasted. So, and the other thing too is like this backline is not even like that punishing either. Like outside of nade, you don't actually die diving on a brick. The damage of the backline is not very high, right? It's more about their utility. So like if you're a Winston, it's pretty hard to die versus an on a brick backline. It's pretty hard to kill them, but it's pretty hard to die versus them too. So it comes at a cost. That's an unfortunate missed whip shot. But you see what's happening, right? On a brick didn't die, but they lost the fight. Still trying to be in a position to help his backline while packing the Tracer. And he's predicting the Winston's going to come from this position. So he's trying to get himself in the best position to whip the Winston. Now, if you guys don't play in a Winston, if you're playing a Doomfist, if you're playing a Diva, if you're playing a Wrecking Ball, it's the same kind of thing. Try and predict, like track their position and try and find the location from where they're engaging from. Trying to find like the lane, for lack of a better term. And this could even help you with Lucio too. Right, he's constantly head on a swivel. You cannot tunnel this Brig. You always got to be checking your periphery. Constantly looking left, constantly looking right. He greets his whip shot there. Now that does get Inspire rolling, but that does open up the Infected to engage. I guarantee you he does not use his whip there if there's Nano or Primal. But because there's no Nano and Primal, because Cassidy is dead, he could be a little bit more greedy with it. Now Nano and Primal are on the table, so Vega's got to be really smart, even with Rally. You don't want to get your Rally forced because you missed a whip. Bam. Kills the momentum, bashes out. Doesn't quite block the nade, but gets close to. There's the bubble. There's the Nano. Now they can actually walk forward to try and force the Primal. And or follow up off of their own team's pressure. Bashes away from the Winston. He goes, oh frick, I've messed up. Well, they haven't really messed up. They can actually trade now. Now he's Dive Brig. Now he's Dive Brig. Taking the high ground. Okay, backline's off. My Winston goes in. Bash. Whip shot. Proc your Inspire early. Pack my DPS. I don't need to be with my Ana because we talked about it earlier. My Ana's not in a position that they can dive in. So instead I'm going to help my Echo here. Walk forward. Again, walking forward, walking forward, walking forward, walking forward. Head on a swivel. Head on a swivel. Where's my Echo? And now, do you see again the lane? This is the lane that we talked about, right? Now, he is risky in terms of being out in the open. So he's timing this around when his Winston has the enemy backline distracted in his Tracer. You see that? So then he opens up the lane to the dive tank that's going to dive close and try to land on the Ana. But because he's opened up the lane here, he in theory can kill the momentum on this whip shot. He greets it, and this is a window for Infected. You see it? That's the mistake from Vega right there. You see it? So now he has to actually bash back. And he's actually pretty lucky that there wasn't any follow-up from Scissors or even a nade from Cal there. He's also lucky that RuPaul is just a crack addict when it comes to the sleep darts. Whip is such a low cooldown, but there are windows of vulnerability versus good tanks. Playing safe, pocketing his Tracer. Pocketing his Tracer. Again, he's using his whip shot there because his position of his Ana is such that she's not really in a diveable location. She's super far back. Care Nano, Care Primal, they're saying. Care Nano, Care Primal. Oh, what the heck, dude? How does he hit that? Now, you might be thinking, why does Infected not just jump here? You could see actually Infected there. Okay, this is actually really funny. Check this out. Infected sees whip shot. Watch what Infected does. He turns around. Nanami, 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 nanami. Because he doesn't have whip shot. The problem is he gets the whip shot at the half the second than when he needs to. And then because he gets it too late, Infected isn't able to jump Vega. So he actually go here passively. Now, again, you're like, well, why doesn't Infected not jump here? He still has jump. There's no whip shot. Well, the problem is that to jump, he's going to have to leave his bubble, which means he gets slept instantly. And that's just something that Infected doesn't really want. Now, he probably could have, and then primaled afterwards. But, yeah. Even Vega hitting the whip and then not shield bashing just to save the shield bash for primal there, just in case. I think he's, yeah, this is where Vega, I think, kind of goes a little too far. I don't know what he was doing here. I think he was trying to enable Sugar Free on the angle. Gets a little bit greedy for what I felt like was a whip shot off of high ground or something. I'm honestly not sure what he was looking for here. But he ends up having to use his bash. He gets low. He pops his rally in a situation where there's no real punish off of it. So it's like, it's not only does it stop, there's no dive to stop, but it's just like nothing to stop, period. He does block that nade, and he does hit that whip, though. Doesn't get that engage. And you see that this is just not great play from Vega. This is kind of smooth, or not very smooth, a little bit clunky, and it's why they're getting choked out here. They're getting choked out. Now, that's a greedy whip shot, but it's not likely to matter because of how far away they are. Because even if they force it here, it's going to be hard to. Now, the nade might change that. The nade might change that. You see that immediately backs off. Split a little bit from his Ana because, again, remember, you see the lane here? Is he going to get the lane, though? Nope, misses it. Double pack for the burst plus nade. He's not going to die. He goes back to peel just a little bit with Inspire. And he's good. You notice that he's also not packing randomly. Like, how many of you guys in this situation here would double pack, and then right now, everybody's safe or dead, and would pack that Ana right there? She's full. She's fine. The pack on the DPS there is way more important. And this is where we talked about he pushes forward. Quicks gets a pack on Sugar Free. Double pack on Sugar Free. Doesn't quite hit the whip. Pulls the attention, shields, and lives. The other thing with Brig as well is, like, you could push up and bait people's attention with shield. It's 250 free HP. So you can be kind of like a tiny little mini tank and absorb some attention here. Winston's low. Rally defensively. Ooh. Great whip there. And that's it, y'all. That's it. So really, really, really good play from both. Obviously, enough mistakes from us to learn from, but you can kind of see like why this is considered to be the best backline in NA right now.